Here we go. So today we're going to be talking about telling your story, crafting your story. The next 6 weeks is going to be all about how you want to craft your story. And the way this is going to go is that we're going to go through some things and talk about some things. But at the end, we're going to have some homework as well. And so that's why I want you to have your pen and paper and be prepared, because some of this stuff you're going to have to really think about. Some of this stuff is not just going to come to you. And we're just going to have some homework assignments, some things that we're doing, and some things I'm going to ask you to post in our group and say on our Facebook page and telling your story. And that will, number one, get you stronger. Number one, the Facebook page is a private page. It's a closed page, so everybody doesn't see it, just the people on our team on our page. So that will allow you to now practice a bit before if you're not comfortable going online and posting online on your page. This will allow to give you some practice and to see yourself, critique yourself and say, I might want to get better at that, or yeah, that was powerful. So we're going to be practicing telling our story. First and foremost, on your paper, the first thing I want you to consider is, who are you? Who are you? I want you to write down, not right now, but I want you to sit with yourself and write down some characteristics that you have. Are you a person of integrity? Are you a person that not of integrity? Do you find yourself lying, telling white lies? Are you a person who is very self-conscious? Are you a person who is very caring? Are you a person who is an introvert and you're cool being at home by yourself? Are you a person that's an extrovert and you need to be out? Or maybe you're a combination of the two. Who are you? What's your favorite color and why? What are some things that happened in your past that's molded you into who you are? And so when you think about that, when you think about this, just think about when you're doing this, think about every person that you meet is the sum total of their past experiences. Think about that. Every person that you meet is the sum total of their past experiences. It's the sum total of whatever it is that they've been through. The same applies to you. Right now, you are the sum total of your past experiences. You are the sum total of what's happened to you from birth until now. If you were raped, that now molds who you are and molds some of your thinking and the way you do things. If you were raised in the church, that molds who you are and can contribute to some of your thinking. If you were a person who were raised in the country or raised in the city, that comes along with you. If your mom or father was an alcoholic, you've brought some things forward because of that. If if your mom and dad were strict, or maybe they weren't strict, all of these things actually develop and make you who you are. So I encourage you to sit with yourself and just in your journal, write down, okay, who am I? Seriously, the good and the bad, the ugly, who am I? Are you a person that, it might be a little prejudiced or might be uneasy about certain things? Are you a person that really has a clear and focused direction? Or can you tell yourself, sometimes I'm not quite as focused as I need to be. Sometimes I can be scatterbrained. Are you able to laugh at yourself? Are you able to say, you know what, sometimes I'm a trip? So I'm encouraging you to get that journal, and that's a part of your homework. Write down who you are, because your story is built in your world, and it transcends into the rest, into the outer world. So your story is within. Who you are is a part of who you're showing the world. Your story also creates your tribe, and so a lot of times you want to you might want to control some of the negative thoughts and the negative things that you're doing, because what you'll find is that it will attract negativity and negative people in your life. We all have negatives and positives. You know, just last night, I was speaking with someone who was doing a testimony, and I said, hey, you know, if instead of focusing on the negative, even though it's prevalent, or even though you might not be going through the best circumstances right now, don't speak that. Don't say that. You know, because all that does is put it in the atmosphere and attracts more negativity, or attract people that are going through the same situation. And when you surround yourself with people who are in the same negative situation or space that you're in, it just really puts more negativity in your life, and it can push your mood down. Well, let's say that you focus on the positive and you say, hey, you know what? I am looking forward to doing this, this, and this. I'm looking forward to my new house. I'm looking forward to my new car. I am so looking forward to going to the beach. Oh my gosh, I am so looking forward to getting that new outfit, to changing my hair. You know, now you're putting positive energy out there, and now guess what's going to be attracted to you? Other people who are looking forward to a new house, other people who are looking forward to new circumstances, other people who are looking forward to creating a life. And so now they're attracted to you because you're saying the same things that they want, that they're attracted to. You get that? So we want to watch that. And that's a part of knowing who you are and listening to yourself, because sometimes those negativities can slip in before you know it. It's also good to have an accountability partner. Somebody said, that might have been a little negative. Or, wait a minute, your slip is showing. And so you can have an opportunity to say, where did that come from? Let me readjust that, or let me reflect. Let me get myself together. Let me dance. Let me listen to some music. Let me pull out of this funk. You know, our president, Christopher Coakley, says, when you're not feeling good, when you're in a negative space, don't come out the house. Just be there with yourself in all your negativity, because once you step out that house, once you put it out there in the world, it's like a magnet. All the negativity is going to be attracted. It's going to be drawn to you. And so your story creates your tribe. Your story creates your reality. So it's so important to work on our story. Think about some of the directors that we have. They are professionals at telling their stories. Director Lorenzo Latson has a great story. You know, used to be a bank manager, was robbed, and, you know, stepped away from that. And just because his life meant more than $80,000 a year, and stepped away from that and started this business and changed the whole situation around, went from $80,000 a year to becoming a millionaire in this business. Janice Parker, her story, having millions, and losing it all. Having her own car dealership and losing it all, and having to move back home with her mother, and now repairing her credit and building all over again, and now creating that lifestyle that can sustain her a $50,000 bonus and multiple $10,000 bonuses. She's walking that walk, and she's allowing us to walk with her back to wealth. When you think about some of the stories of our directors, you really begin to see how powerful those stories are. And when you think about it, the directors with the most powerful stories are the ones that we love, the ones that we are excited to stay and get on stage, the ones that we are elbowing our guests and say, oh, you got to meet this person. Oh, you've got to see this person, or this person. Oh my God, they are so inspiring, because their stories and what they have come through inspires us to be better, and inspires us to look at some of the things that we're going through and saying, you know what, it wasn't that bad, so now we can do it. So there's power in our voices. There's power in your voice. And communication is the key to everything. Think about it. The way somebody says something to you, the way people communicate with you says more about them than it does about you. Why? Because you're judging them by the way that they communicate. Someone who speaks to you in a harsh tone, you never say, well, what in the world? I must really be awful because they're speaking to me in a harsh tone. No, you generally say, well, what's wrong with them? Shoot, all I'm doing is standing here. What, who rained on your parade today? So communication is key. So the same way that you're judging someone that communicates with you, others are judging you in the way that you communicate with them. So most of us have never really effectively used our voice. Imagine what you could do when you discover the most effective and life-giving use of your voice. Imagine. Once you discover the power of your voice, you will start to realize the great responsibility that comes with it. You can build walls or you can build bridges. Think about that and write that down. You can decide to build walls or you can build bridges. So what's the difference? Well, when you're speaking with someone, you can lift them up or you can break them down. It's totally up to you. When you speak with someone, you can be positive or you can be negative. When you speak with someone or when when you're communicating, you decide to open up that door of communication or shut it down. And most of us know when we're doing it. Most of us know how to shut somebody down. And it's a clear shutdown. Most of the time, the other person knows too that you are not interested in carrying on that conversation. But just think about it. That's the power of your voice and the power of communication. So many things impact your voice, your parents, where you were born, all of everything that you've experienced, school, different things are pivotal parts of your life, impact who you are. Most of us want to connect. However, we also operate in anxiety or fear. We want to reach out to that person, but sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, sometimes for a moment you might say, well, what's that person going to think of me? Or that person doesn't have time to talk to me, or that person is not interested in meeting me. Or, we discount ourselves before we walk up to that person and say hello. Years ago, there was an we were, I can't remember where we were. I think we might have been in the airport. But Nick had the opportunity, we both had the opportunity to meet Madeleine Albright. She was right there, minimum security. I think she blended, so most people didn't realize who she was. And if you don't know who Madeleine Albright is, she was she was, before she retired, a top figure in the United States government. She was one of the I can't remember what her title was, and Nick, you can help me. She was Secretary of State, that's right. And so she was one of the most powerful women in the United States. And she was walking, and I remember Nick said, man, that's Madeleine Albright. And I looked at her and I just said, man, she looks different. My thought was, she looks a little different than she looks on TV, or, she looks in her published documents and that kind of stuff. But before I knew it, he had gotten up, walked over there, walked right up to her, shook her hand and said, Miss Albright, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am Nick Brown, and I serve in the Central Intelligence Agency. And they had, she was like, I think she was surprised, but she was poised. She was very, very, very courteous. And kind of even a little seemed happy to meet him. And I was like, wow, how cool was that? And I'm still sitting there. I still had not moved. And there was another situation. I was so impressed with Nick for that, because I was like, I can't believe. And then he gave Madeline Albright our business card. He was like, if I could be of service to you in any of your travels, please let me know. And he handed her a business card. Nick Brown was going to recruit Madeline Albright. Is that amazing or what? I was floored. But he was confident, and he was also like, I can talk to anybody. You know, there was a time years ago for President Obama's inauguration, my cousins came down. And after the inauguration, we were at the National Harbor. They wanted a steak, so we went down to the steakhouse at the National Harbor. Well, we walk in, and guess who's sitting there? None other than, let me see, somebody's saying something. None other, oh, Nick's talking about always be closing. None other than, what's the guy's name? What's the little guy, singer? Why can't I think his name right now? Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin is sitting there with friends having dinner. My cousins are ministers from Detroit. So they walked right up to Kirk Franklin and said, yo, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Kirk Franklin was like, hey, what's up? Da, da, da. And then my cousin came back and said, you want to meet Kirk Franklin? And I said, no. I was like, I could kick myself. I said no to meeting Kirk Franklin. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Afterwards, I was like, why? And my whole point was, I didn't want to meet him because I felt like we were rude because he was having dinner, and I felt like we were taking him away from, you know, his dinner and his people. I thought my cousins were rude, but they knew him, so he didn't see it. That they hadn't seen each other in a while. He sat there and talked to him and everything, and so I nodded my head and I said, "Hi, how are you?" And he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" But I didn't go over there and shake his hand and be able to engage in conversation or take a picture with them or anything, because I just felt like we were being rude. Now, that was a perfect opportunity for me where I let my head stop me, because it was a closed environment. That if you've ever been to that steakhouse up in the National Harbor, they don't have a lot of crowds in there. And so we had to reserve a table. And, you know, so it was an intimate environment. There were people around him, but it wasn't like there was a crowd. And I didn't think about it until later that, oh my goodness, when am I going to be that close and intimate with Kirk Franklin? When am I going to ever have an opportunity to sit there and take a picture? When will I ever be able to have that moment again to take a picture with him and my cousin? I mean, how cool was that? And so I had to look at myself and say, wow, you know, what made me think about something else instead of thinking about just how powerful that moment is. So think about that and all of these things. And I had to go back in my past and just say, well, why do I feel this way? And all of these things lead up to who I am. What are some situations that you can think of where maybe in the past you might say, I might have made a different decision. I may have been able to do that differently. Think about, how do you communicate your thoughts? What about your feelings? What really matters to you? Every time, well, think about this. Every time you open your mouth, you are responsible. If you thought about the responsibility of what you were saying and how you were saying it, would you say it differently? Would you act differently? I encourage you to think about that. Every time I open my mouth, I am responsible. Because that is also going to develop your story. What do I want? Write this down. What do I want people to feel when I open my mouth? What do you want to transfer? You know, Director Lorenzo Latson, I'm pretty sure you've heard him say this in his training, that sales is a transfer of energy. So he's great at transferring his energy, transferring his excitement, and just saying, oh my gosh, you know, just his tempo, his rhythm, the way that he talks, and his volume, and how he inflects. If you start listening to his presentation, when he's excited, he gets a little louder. But when he's ready to talk money, he looks into the camera and he lowers his voice. He slows his tempo, and he's speaking right to that person so that they can make a decision. I want you to start looking at that, because that's another trait of being a good storyteller, instead of telling your story. And you can use those things as well. Your voice is powerful. Think about when you lifted someone up and when you broke someone down, right? Think about that. And I apologize for the notes and the papers rattling. I apologize. Your voice could open a possibility for someone. Think about that. If you have children, remember that time when you gave your child hope, when maybe they lost, or maybe they were feeling a little depressed, or maybe they didn't do as well on that test, and you stepped in and you rubbed their back, or you told them something that would lift their spirits. Or maybe it was your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad, whoever it was, your best friend. Do you remember? Do you remember also that person that you broke down, that person that gotten on your last nerve? That thing that you said that you regretted saying, and you had to go back and apologize. Something that you thought would make you feel powerful, but it didn't. It actually made you feel pretty bad. Well, you can bring life to people. You know, our director, Letitia Nicole Beatty, also, her slogan is, I speak life. And she speaks life into whatever it is that she's going through. Again, a person with a powerful story, a person who was molested when she was younger, a person who had to come through all kinds of obstacles, the person that didn't have a perfect childhood, and especially a perfect adulthood or adolescence, and some of the challenges that she had to go through and be totally broken down to be rebuilt and change her mindset and believe in herself and believe who she is. Another powerful story, and if you have an opportunity to actually hear her story, definitely hear her story, because again, another powerful person, and because of her story, so many people follow her. She inspires so many people. But you have a story too. So communication, one of the key points of communication is making sure that you have it's honest, and you're speaking your truth. And it's honest truth. You're speaking from your core. People connect to that. Anybody connects when you're being honest. When, you know, just think about it. When you're watching someone speak and they're getting emotional, you get emotional too. It draws you in. You want to know more. You just like, oh my gosh, you're just attracted to that feeling. And so to be that vulnerable and to put your truth out there, you know how that feels. And where most people are feeling like, oh, I can't do that. Actually, that's what we should do, because that's what's going to attract people to us. Also, you have to break down your defenses. To actually communicate, you have to break down your defenses and be open and willing to not be defensive about what somebody may say. Because communication is a two-way street. If you don't want people to be defensive about what you say, then you have to be willing not to be defensive about what they're saying. And so communication is just that. It's just ebb and flow. It's just communicating. So when we make that determination that we're just going to communicate, and no matter what is said, it's just what is said. It's words. And we're listening. And we're listening to understand and not listening to respond. That is my challenge. Sometimes I find myself listening and already crafting a response before the person has gotten their total thought out. And I do that under the guise of time management. Oh, let's go. Let's move and shake. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and make your point. Let's go ahead and do this. Well, really, no, that's poor listening skills, and that's poor communication. And a lot of times what I've learned is that people don't connect with me because I've at that point, I've disconnected the communication. At that point when I'm saying that canned response, or I didn't really think about what it is that they're saying, they may walk away and say thank you, but I lost that opportunity to connect. There was a time when I was speaking with one of our old directors, Melissa Boston, and she said, wait a minute. She had just finished a presentation. I had something to ask her, and she said, wait a minute. And so I waited, and then she said, okay, I want to focus on what it is that you need to ask me. And so I asked her something, and she let me get it all out, and she said, She thought about it, and then she responded. I appreciated that so much because there have been so many directors that I had spoken to that basically, kept doing whatever they were doing. And then they just kind of gave me some sort of response. But I really felt like they didn't really think about what it is that I was asking. But at that moment, I felt that she really thought about what I was asking and wanted to really give me the best response. Imagine how we do that. I know that I do that all the time, in that somebody may say something, and instead of me stopping and listening intently to what they're saying, I might be multitasking. I may continue to do something else, or I may say, okay, yeah, and sometimes it might be an hour later when I may think about it and say, you know what, that wasn't the best response. Well, guess what? Now my poor response has gone and gotten traction, and now that person has gone down the wrong road. Now I got to run and catch them and say, you know what? I was thinking before, I thought about what you said again, and I want to change my response. I think instead of doing this, it might be better if you did this. But what if I had just stopped what I was doing and listened to them and given them the response at that time? Would have saved them time and energy, would save me time and energy. And so that's something that I'm working on and getting better with. Now, what does that have to do with your story? Everything. Because who you are and how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if you're just running through your story, like sometimes, and when I'm doing a presentation, I kind of skip through my story and go through the presentation. Well, guess what? The story is the most impactful part of the presentation. When you think about Lorenzo Lasson, when you think about Janice Parker, when you think about Letitia Nicole Beebe, when you think about the best storyteller, Christopher Coakley, the best part of his trainings are his stories. That's what keeps you coming back. That's what keeps you smiling. That's what keeps you tickled. And that's what connects. Because he said something and you're laughing at it and you're like, oh my God, he knows me. He knows me. He knows exactly. Oh my goodness. He brings up things that everybody in the room can relate to. And before you know it, everybody in the room is his friend. Or guess what? If they aren't, they're just not a part of his tribe. And he's okay with that. Because nobody's going to like you 100% of the time. Not everybody is going to relate to your story. No, not everybody's going to relate to you, but that's okay. So here we go. Just think about some of the things that we've talked about today, or I've talked about today. We've got a few minutes. But before I open it up, and I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about this whole session. Hopefully you're excited in what you've written down, what you got out of this, because we're all learning together. We're walking this walk together. Your homework, like I said, you got some homework. Number one, I've already mentioned it. Write down who you are. Now, no one is going to see this. This is your homework. This is your work. So write down who you are. Write down some things that are good, some things that are bad, but all the things think about some of the things that have happened to make you, to mold you into who you are. Number 2, who are 3 people that you have amazing communication with and why? Who are 3 people that you love to talk to? 3 people that you feel really get you, really understand you, and why? Number 3, who are 3 people that you don't have good communication with and why? Okay, so that's 3 people that you've got a great communication with and 3 people that you don't have good communication with. And why is that? And like I said, this is your notes. This is you talking to you, dealing with you. Number 4, only speak in terms of your responsibility when you answer this question. I'm sorry. That's not number 4. Those are directions for number 2 and 3. When you answer number 2 and 3, only speak in terms of your responsibility. For instance, the 3 people that you don't have communication with, it's not acceptable and it doesn't serve you to say, "Oh, I don't have good communication with them because they're just silly," or they don't listen to me. No. Because this is all about you. This is your assignment. So write down, honestly, why you don't have good communication with those 3 people. What is your responsibility? What's your role? What role do you play in not having good communication? What role do you play when the 3 people that you do have communication with, what role do you play in that? Take responsibility for that. So those are the instructions for number 2 and 3. It has to be written in a space or in a way that you're taking full responsibility for it. So who are the 3 people that you have amazing communication with and why? Who are the 3 people that you don't have good communication with and why? And number 4, what 2 people have you encouraged and speak life into? Who are 2 people in your lifespan that you've encouraged and that you actually spoke life or spoke encouragement, gave them hope? Who are those 2 people? And what 2 people, number 5 is, what 2 people have your words impacted negatively? Who are 2 people that you didn't speak life into? Who are 2 people that you cut down? Who are 2 people that you just haven't been nice to? Just the other day, I asked Nick, I said, "Nick, do you think I'm unapproachable?" And without a bat in the eye, he said, "Sometimes you can be a little closed when you meet people." And he said, "But once you warm up into this beautiful personality. So if people just get through that first part and let you get comfortable with them, let you get to know them, you just open up into this beautiful personality." He said, "But initially you can be a little closed." And I said, "Wow." Nick is just the opposite. He never meets a stranger. And it annoys me to no end that we can be going somewhere. Sometimes I'm thinking we're going to sit down and have a dinner and stuff, and Nick is talking to the bartender. He's got to talk to the waitress, and he's got to talk to the person next door. He's got to we cannot just go someplace and sit down and order our food. Nick got to talk to everybody. But that's the difference, because in his talking to people, he brings me out. It makes me have to talk to people, because I can't sit there and be all shut down while he's all happy and bubbly. It makes me have to be happy and bubbly. "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Yes, I remember you. Yes. But Nick is just much more outgoing. But that's something that something in our relationship that complements the 2 of us, because I know most of my friends are that way. My sisters are that way. So I know that I need that. I need extroverts around me to bring me out, because I tend to be an introvert. I could sit in the house. I could do something all day and not talk to somebody, but I have to force myself to do that. So what do you do to make sure who do you surround yourself with? So the homework is, so those five questions are what you put in your journal. Answer those for yourself, and I will augment this. Well, I don't know. I'll post the questions on our group. However, the ultimate, what I want you to do in terms of your homework is I want you to do a video, record a video just on your phone, not a live. Record a video on your phone and tell us who is the most impactful speaker to you. Who is your ultimate most impactful speaker? It might be your minister. I know when I got saved, my uncle, I got saved from a sermon that my uncle preached, and it was powerful, and it hit me at my core. Now, it might have been timing, or it might have been just God working with me, or what was in my spirit at that time, but I'll never forget it. My uncle was a powerful, very prolific speaker, and just a great orator. Who is your most powerful speaker? I know a lot of us love Malcolm X. A lot of us I think Malcolm X is a powerful speaker. I think Martin Luther King is a powerful speaker. I think John F. Kennedy was a powerful speaker. President Obama is a powerful speaker. Letitia Nicole Beatty is a powerful speaker. Janice Parker is a powerful speaker. Who is your most powerful speaker, and why? I'd like you to tell us about that. Maybe you like to describe the day that you heard this person speak, maybe what you were going through, but tell a story of who your powerful speaker is and why. Why was it impactful for you? Were you happy? Did it make you sad? Did it move you to make a decision? Have it changed who you were or who you are as a person? I want you to actually just record that on your cell phone, on a video. And then I'd like you to share that in our Facebook page. I want you to, when you do that file, you could actually share the file on our Facebook page and just title it the most powerful speaker to me in my life is, and it doesn't have to be long, just a little, few minutes of who it was and why. And then I want you to post that. And then I want you to look at it. And I want you to look at some of your mannerisms, and don't critique yourself. This is not about being super critical. This is really about communication and sharing. And so, that's what I want you to share this week. I want you to do the homework in your journal and share this week in terms of who is the most powerful speaker to you, in your opinion. And there's no wrong or right answer. It's totally up to, it could be your mom, it could be your dad, it doesn't matter. But who is your most powerful speaker and why? So, hey, y'all, it's time for us to end, but I don't want to end this without giving everybody an opportunity to share, because as we begin to develop our stories, this is going to be the most valuable tool in your arsenal. Developing your story, not just one story, but you're going to develop different stories for different situations that you'll be able to drop like a dime. Okay, boom, boom, boom. You'll be able to survey the room or whoever you're speaking with and know what story you need to tell to attract them to you, to actually get what you want, to get that loan, to get that job, to do the things that you want to do. And so your story is the most valuable thing that you have in your arsenal. So you want to know yourself and know your stories. So that's my training for the day. We'd love to hear some feedback. If you could unmute your lines and tell me what you think. Are you excited? What'd you get out of today? Can you give me some feedback, please?
Hey, Ann, this is Michelle. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Well, Ann, thank you so much for being such an awesome leader. I mean, I applaud you and I respect you so much. But more importantly, I respect you for just, being transparent, for keeping it real. I mean, we all have these feelings, and a part of being a leader is having people follow you. And that's a scary thing, because you have to look at who you are, who is going to follow me, and who do I have to be to lead other people. So having a powerful story, looking at who you are, evaluating what it is that I have to contribute, and who I am is going to contribute to that. So I really appreciate this training today, because it's really given us some food in terms of what we need to do and where we are and where we need to go to be successful as leaders. Because if you're leading and no one's following, you're just taking a walk, right? So this is very, 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 very powerful. And I really appreciate the nuggets today. It means a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And hey, I'm looking forward to seeing your video, and post it in our group, and definitely let us know. I'm just looking forward to your taking this walk with us, and all of us developing powerful stories. Anybody else willing to share? What did you get from today? Where are you? Are you excited? Are you looking forward to it?
Hi, it's Michelle McDaniel. I just wanted to comment on the part. I came in late, but the part that I did hear was on the communication, and how sometimes you may say the wrong things and turn people off because you're not listening. Although I'm an introvert, so I listen to what everybody says. I do not comment until once they're done, but just hearing how the different people, and how you said that being with an extrovert person helps to compliment you and pulls you out. So sometimes I kind of shy away. I don't communicate the things that I want to say. And then when I walk away, it's like, oh, wow, I should have said this and that. So just looking at myself and pulling from within to be a little bit more bolder. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, I encourage you to kind of walk with me in this 6 weeks as we develop our stories, and that is a powerful story. Being an introvert and I know being an introvert, speaking the way that you do, and some of the things that you've done. I've seen you come out of your shell. I've seen you really do some powerful things, and I've had to sit back and say, wow, Michelle is really stepping out. And so, but I don't know if I've said that to you. I don't know if I've communicated that to you. However, you're absolutely right. And so I encourage you to walk with us and develop your story, because I think that in itself is a powerful story as well. Anybody else? All right, Katrina, Nick Brown, did y'all want to share?
Well, I just figured I was going to wait till afterwards, because I know you was going to sit down and talk with me anyway. But okay, since you want me. I thought it was an amazing training. You brought back quite a few things with me in terms of communication and speaking, and I can remember, as you said, the power of your voice and your tone. I know in several situations, my tone probably put me in a situation where I build up walls instead of building bridges. So that'll be something that I'm definitely going to have to work on. But yeah, and a couple of examples that you're excited about, that you shared about me. Yeah, that all went back to, you know, my upbringing and with my parents and how I was exposed to certain things. So this training today was great. It brought out a lot of things that I have done successfully, and now I got to work on those things that I need to so that I can be a better communicator and know how to utilize and uh, use my voice to be able to get those things and get into those circles and impact people and attract people that the way that I want to. So thank you. It was an awesome training.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to you walking with me this in 6 weeks and developing your story as well. You have a powerful story that you don't tell, and you tell parts of it in different environments. And you're absolutely right. Who you are, you made a great point. Some of the things that your dad instilled in you are things that are you still utilizing today, and things that you're instilling in your son or trying to instill in your son. And so you're absolutely who you are, doing that assignment and recognizing who you are and how everybody is the sum total of their past experiences. All right, so Katrina, you're our last person. Would you like to share what you got from this? Are you excited? What's going on with you today?
Well, good morning. Yes, I got all the good nuggets this morning. It gets me to get more focus of what we're supposed to do as a leader, and getting out there and expressing more, expressing yourself more. I do shy away sometimes as well. But I thank Miss Ann, because she's always inboxing me. Know I be at work till late, until 8 o'clock, and I'm always trying to jump on them. And I'm giving her kudos this morning, because she's always being an awesome leader and teaching us more and more what we need to know for our future. I'm looking for the future, the new vision. So thank you, Miss Ann.
All right, all right. Well, Katrina, I know that you have a powerful story as well. I know that you've got a lot of things going on. And so that is a powerful story, and that is going to propel you. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity. I know Michelle did, and Nick did, and Michelle, I think both of Michelle's, you guys watched Self-Made. When her story was so powerful, when you saw her hair and those bald patches in her hair at the beginning, and then after she started using her products and how her bald patches grew in, that was a powerful story. She didn't have to say anything to talk about, oh, this has this in it, this is this. She just went around and told her story and said, hey, I had bald patches. I know what you're going through. I know what's happening under that head wrap. And because of that, people aligned with her story, and she had more sales. So Katrina, that's what's going to happen with you. You represent that mother, that grandmother that's got a lot of things going on. Michelle, McDaniel, you do too. That's a part of your story. And as you begin to learn how to tell that story, you're not going to have to worry about what to do or what to say. People are going to want to be around you because you represent who they are. So the presentation is the presentation. No matter what, everybody gonna do the presentation. But your story, what you bring to the equation, is really what's going to make people want to align with you. And so, Ms. Katrina Ellis, I'm looking forward to what you're about to accomplish and the stories that come out. I'm looking forward to everybody, all of the stories that are going to come out of this training in this 6 weeks. So y'all, thank y'all so much for joining us today. You can listen to the replay. I'm going to post the homework as well, but definitely work on your videos. Just do your video, write it out. Who is your most powerful speaker, the person that has been most impactful for you, and tell us why. And record the video on your phone, and then post it on in our team page, and just titled it my most, my most powerful speaker, or the person who impacted me the most. You can title it or whatever, but we'll know what it is. So thank y'all for joining us today. Hopefully you got some information you could use. And hey, that's going to build up to what we're going to be doing next Saturday as we continue this series of developing your story. Y'all have a great day. God bless. And I look forward to seeing you at the top. And I'm going to try to figure out this whole screen thing. I apologize for that. Bye, y'all. Thank you.
All right, invisible woman.